Good morning, YouTubers. T Square with T Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Saturday morning, and we're kicking off the weekend, and we're kicking it off with a great video. I think it's a great video. I think it's something that people need to think about. Today, I want to talk a little bit about stacking in the United States versus stacking in other countries around the world. Here in the United States, the majority of Americans don't stack precious metals. I mean, really, precious metals are frowned upon. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we can't see something crazy happening to the U.S. dollar. We think we're the greatest country in the world, and the U.S. dollar is always going to be on top. And the sad thing about that is every country that was on top always thought they would be on top. And you can go back as far as you want, all the way to Rome. And, Rome thought their currency would be on top. And eventually Rome was not the top dog. They collapsed. And they collapsed with huge amounts of inflation. They've collapsed with trying to expand their territory even further out, which cost a lot of money. And as they watered down the money, people lost faith in it. Now, for a lot of people outside of the United States, they understand that gold and silver is money. Now, I'm not saying every country believes that. I'm not saying every person in that country believes that. But I would say that a larger proportion of people believe in gold and silver as money outside of the United States than compared to inside the United States. Once you realize that, you have to look at why that is. People in other countries, they've experienced some of the breakdowns, whether it be an economic collapse, a currency crisis, a currency collapse, huge amounts of devaluing their currency, maybe even resetting their currency. Here in the United States, we've devalued our currency in terms of debasing it. However, we've never seen it go essentially to zero overnight, but we are seeing inflation, and inflation is exactly that. It's the overprinting of money and fiat currencies and basically making them worth less and less. When we look at the price of silver here in the United States, we see, I'll be honest, look at this dip. It's down, in just the last couple of days, we're down $1.40. And a lot of people that are stackers are firm believers that, hey, this is a great opportunity. I'm one of them. This is a great opportunity. I'm just going to keep buying in the dip, and I'm going to pick up more. When it's going up, I say I buy regularly, but I'll be honest, I slow down my purchases when it's going up. And, when you see this drop, that's opportunity to me. Now, granted, I have been buying a little bit more gold right now than silver. It really just has to do with I'm seeing some deals pop up in gold. I'm not really seeing the deals pop up in silver, although I did have a subscriber and member of the channel send me a link today for $31.50 maple leafs. And I was like, man, I wish I had seen that sooner. I'm talking 40 cents over. I would have jumped on that in a minute instead of gold. I do believe silver is going to do a whole lot better, but right now I'm focusing a little bit on gold. Now, both metals are going to do very well. And I was thinking, it's kind of interesting because these people in other countries, let's be honest, the U.S. is one of the richer countries in the world. That's why a lot of Americans tend to go to places like the Philippines, Mexico, Brazil, all these different countries where their American dollars go a whole lot further. Whether you're retired, whether you're someone like me that's a YouTuber and I get my money in US dollars for YouTube videos, I do get a certain amount of money when you see those commercials pop up. That's basically how YouTube gives me a commission on that commercial every video that comes out. So those dollars, when I take them to other countries, they go a lot further. You can get them made in the Philippines for like a couple dollars a day. You're talking next to nothing. Have someone cooking your food for a couple dollars a day, prepping your lunch, prepping your meals, clean the house, whatever the case may be, the apartment. And it goes a whole lot farther. And they're willing to work hard to make such a small amount of money. And then what do? In some cases, a lot of those people will invest in precious metals. And I know someone out there is going to be like, they don't have money to be investing in precious metals. You need to rethink that. You look at some of these videos in China, essentially a poorer country, and you see people running to buy precious metals, waiting in line for hours. Kind of like it was here during the whole cough for food, for 4 cans of food. I thought that was crazy. I actually did a lot of videos when that was going on because people weren't prepared. And unfortunately, here in the United States, a lot of people don't believe in precious metals, and they're not going to be prepared when the whole system comes crashing down and precious metals skyrockets. So when I was replying to a comment earlier today, I got thinking, as I was writing out the comment, I said, it's funny. These people in other countries that have almost nothing are willing to put up a fraction of nothing into precious metals to get such a small amount. And it costs them a lot of money. And on the little bit of pay that they get, they end up getting, a tiny, tiny bit of silver. We're talking in some cases grams of silver. Literally, they're saving and saving to get whatever they can. Here in the United States, though, it's the total opposite. People make more money than they know what to do with. They'll go buy their $8 cup of Starbucks, $9 cup of Starbucks. They'll go out to eat fancy restaurants. Nobody wants to cook at home anymore, that's for sure. I actually had someone make me ramen noodle one day, and when I bit into them, they were crunchy. She literally had absolutely no idea how to cook anything. And I was like, just crunching away. And it's just like, are they good? I was like, they're a little al dente, but yeah, I'm not complaining, But where I'm going with that is people want everything done for them, and it's going to end rough because when precious metals do skyrocket in value, what do you think is going to happen here in the United States? A lot of people are all of a sudden going to want to get their hands on precious metals. And it's going to be so expensive because at that point, the banking system, the manipulators will not be able to manipulate it down for people. And they're not even going to know what happened. They're just going to see it skyrocket, and they're going to be saying the same thing that I read in the comments from the newer stackers. I wish I had started stacking 5 years ago. I wish I had been stacking 10 years ago. It is a comment that in the entire time that I've been making YouTube videos, I've always heard people say. Even when silver was $15 an ounce, and I was fairly newer to making videos, I would get comments, I wish I had started stacking when it was cheaper. I remember when it was $5 an ounce. I've heard some people say they remembered when they could just literally pull it out of a cash register. Now, I don't remember pulling out of a cash register. I do remember opening up a couple rolls at a business that I had worked for when I was younger. I was working in high school, and I remember opening up a couple rolls and finding some old quarters and some old half dollars. And I did put them up, and then someone's like, oh, I'll buy them off you. You want to sell them to me? And I was like, okay, I only got them for 50 cents and a quarter, so anything over that is profit. So I did sell them. But back then, people did not really, they didn't understand, a lot of people. Very few people understood what precious metals are. Nowadays, more and more people are opening up and understanding it, but still such a small percentage. And when it all comes crashing down, people are going to take every penny they got and try to push it into precious metals, and they're going to get a small amount, a tiny, tiny fraction of an amount. And it's going to be interesting because Americans will probably have about the average American will probably have about the same amount of silver as some foreigner in China. And the whole system will eventually reset, and people will move away from fiat dollars. We'll go back to working for silver and gold. And people will have to work a whole day. They're not going to be able to do some of these simple jobs where they just shuffle paperwork and kind of pretend to be there all day. You pretend like they're staying busy and doing something. They're going to have to do hard work that people need. Even jobs, I hate to say it, like waiters who work really hard and waitresses. I don't really think that will be as big. When the society just really goes into a real depression, recession. I know a lot of people say we're in a recession now, but as long as people don't believe we're in a recession, then they keep going to work. They keep on spending like there's no tomorrow. Now, they're spending on credit. A lot of them are just charging the items they need. But as long as they're spending on credit and people are loaning them that money, then essentially the system keeps going. People will keep employing them. But eventually when the credit stops, that's when the problems start arising. And eventually the credit will stop because eventually other countries ain't going to want to learn. Won't want to loan to the United States. So you'll see a lot of credit start drying up, And then what's going to happen? Well, now if the average American doesn't have credit, they're not going to buy as much. They're going to go to work, they're going to make their money, and they're going to buy the necessities. And as that slows down, then essentially they're going to have to cut employees. They're going to have to cut workers. They might even close down in some cases. I actually went to the Surfing Crab today. And while I was eating there, I asked the lady, I go, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" She goes, "It's so-so." I said, "Oh, what's wrong?" She goes, "It's just been a really slow day. This is the busiest." I said, "It's only 3 of us here." And I like to go at like, just after lunch because I don't like a lot of people. When I'm sitting down eating, I just like to relax and just kind of think. And needless to say, she said, "No, it's been dead, and it's been dead all week." Why do you think that is? People are starting to get strapped for cash again. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if we get this. They're calling for another stimulus check, I guess you can say, from the Doge team, saving all that money, which is kind of funny because they put all this work into saving money, and now they've accumulated, a big savings. I mean, let's be honest. Let's take a look real quick. $149 billion. That's what they're at right now. But now they're talking about giving everybody a stimulus check. Well, I mean, that basically means the money's gone. They spent it, they saved it, and then they respent it on something else. So they didn't really save any money. Now, will it help in the future? Yeah. Will I complain about taking a stimulus check? Of course not. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to invest it in precious metals. I did that with the stimulus checks during the cough. And a lot of people are going to take those and they're going to go out and they're going to buy TVs and junk that they don't need. And when things get tough, they're going to be right back in the same boat that we're in today, a lot of people. But it's going to be a whole lot worse. And so that's why I kind of want people to understand that stacking in the United States versus stacking outside the U.S., it's a little more discouraging here in the United States because we don't see quite as much excitement around it. Because there's so much money getting poured in to beating down the price of gold, the price of silver. But here's the thing. We're beating it down, and other countries are reaping the rewards of being able to buy it. Because if the price of silver, the spot price of silver is beat down to $31, who's making out? You're only making out if you're buying. Big banks, they're the ones buying. JP Morgan, they're buying as much as they can get. Everyday people out there here in the United States, the average person ain't buying. We're stacking. We're taking advantage of it. But over in other countries, they're taking advantage of it hard. And when this collapses and all of a sudden people wake up and they realize that it's fiat money and it doesn't really have the value, and on top of that, even fiat money is getting harder and harder because essentially the economy is slowing and everything going on. People don't understand. I mean, why right now are things seeming to be good, still semi-good? Well, a lot of that has to do with the price of oil. Oil's cheap right now. Oil's under $70 a barrel. I'm convinced we'll probably see a nice little uptick in oil with spring break right around the corner. So my advice to you guys, if I gave financial advice, I know my advice to myself. I tell you guys what I'm doing. It's not financial advice, but I would consider picking up some precious metals. I know I am. I'm taking advantage of this dip. We were at 29.60, 29.55 the other day. Here we are down almost $100 in gold. The grand scheme of things, we can take that back in a couple of days. Silver down to 31.10. It was as high as 31.10. It was as high as 32.50 the other day. We saw a beat down, $1.40. I'm not stressing it. I'm going to keep stacking, and that's it. It's up to you guys what you decide to do. Hopefully you're preparing for what's coming, because it's going to get ugly. And when it does, you want to be on the prepared side and not the unprepared side. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a tougher video because I really didn't have an idea of what I wanted to shoot a video on. And then when I seen that comment, I said, I kind of want to talk a little bit about that because I know it's discouraging. It's discouraging. You put money in and then all of a sudden the price came down. I'll be honest, I bought the initial dip on gold and now it continued to dip even lower. But that's okay. I've still got the metals. I'm not stressing it in the least. Could I have saved $200 on my order? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have it ahead of time. And at a certain point, something is going to break down in the system and you're going to have your order in. You're going to be putting your order in and then that's it. You're just going to get a refund. And anybody that thinks that can't happen, we've seen it happen. I remember when the price had plunged and then all of a sudden it spiked right back up. And literally some companies canceled people's orders. They said there was a mistake and that they were canceling their orders. In fact, if you look at most online dealers, I wish I had one pulled up right now, they will tell you they have the right to cancel the order at any time. So if something major happens, let's be honest, if gold all of a sudden, you put in an order right now for $28.57 and gold spikes up all of a sudden to $3,500, $4,000, you think they're still going to ship that order to you? They're going to refund your money and say there was a problem in the system, and that's it. They're going to cancel the order. Not every company, but some companies will. It's going to get harder and harder for them to get it. And, they're not going to be able to get it at 28 if the spot price all of a sudden spikes up to 35 to $4,000. They're going to be paying more. You're going to be paying more, and you'll be lucky to get what you got. Now, I'm not saying, panic and run out and buy everything you can, but I am saying be prepared. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, it was a tough one coming up with a topic today. So thank you all for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you would. Leave me a comment. Let me know. If you didn't really care for the video, leave a comment. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you got something extra to add it in there. I like to read people's comments. I have a lot of people tell me that one of the things they like about the channel is I really do my best to take, an hour or two a day replying to people's comments. And I do that because, we're a family. And I'm learning from you as much as you guys are learning from me. I mean, I actually had someone comment the other day, a Morgan dollar does not have the same amount of silver as 10 dimes or 4 quarters. Now, 10 dimes, I was thinking at first it was from the wear. But then when I went and confirmed that, I said, oh, that's right. It's 0.71 ounces in dimes and quarters, but it's 0.77, I think, on a Morgan dollar. So, like I said, I just learned that. I've been stacking for a long time, and I've always looked at them as essentially the same. So, but thanks all for watching. I'll see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.